What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Otaku. Another month, another manga book club. This month we did Blue Lock, the weird, not licensed manga that's just not available anywhere, but it's about soccer and it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know why. So that's what we're going to be talking about this month. In case you guys don't know, what we do is we do a bit of a spoiler-free review. Do we like it? Will we continue reading it? Should you guys read it? And then we move on to a bit more spoiler-intensive review, which we will give a warning for, and we'll talk about our favorite parts, our favorite characters, and things like that. So starting off, Blue Lock. It's a soccer manga, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen a sports anime or manga before.
Never even played one.
I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of Haikyuu, but...
Yeah, and I've watched all of Haikyuu, and it is just as good. Let me give that a glowing review. So if you like Haikyuu, and the Haikyuu manga, I believe, just finished, move over to Blue Lock. So
wow,
it is fantastic, but not available to buy volumes for some reason.
It's also a good one to get started on because it's got what, like 100+ chapters
it's got
at the
a
moment.
lot of chapters. So there's plenty to read here. A bit of a synopsis kind of setting up is the story starts with Japan losing the 2018 World Cup.
Yep.
So then the Japan soccer
JFA.
force or something decides they need a change of plans. A bunch of old cronies are like, nah, we'll just keep doing the same thing. We make it to the World Cup every time. Who cares?
And we make enough money off of it, too.
Yeah, this young girl comes in. She's like, no, Japan needs to win the World Cup. Don't fuck around.
Is that what she said? I was just looking at her tits.
Okay. It's a joke in the manga, guys. So that's kind of the setup, and they basically bring on this young man, I would say. His last name is Ego, so you can kind of guess how he acts.
Seems like a great
And
guy.
he is basically going to redo the whole system and create the world's best striker.
Yeah.
And does that by basically grabbing a ton of what he considers to be the best high school strikers as of right now and puts them into kind of a prison-like setting and starts to weed them out.
Yeah, they
very
didn't really
quickly.
hold the bar on that. They're like, yeah, it's pretty much prison.
Yeah.
they want to get them ready for like the U20.
And that's kind of the setup. So it's very much still a shonen, I would say, kind of action manga.
Oh, yeah, very much
But
so.
it does have kind of a psychological, like I spoke to Josh about it previously. If it took one step to the right, it could almost be like a psychological horror.
Oh, yeah,
Of
definitely.
like, we lock all of these kids up in prison. We make them do horrible psychological stuff. But we're basically, and you had a great reference. You compared to the drum movie,
It's
Whiplash.
the Whiplash of soccer.
Yeah. It's very much that, but all of the characters are fantastic.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen a lot of the time. It's just, it's great. So let me hit you with the normal questions. Did you guys like it?
It was fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, and of course, let me hit you with the easy lob. Are you guys going to continue reading it?
Yes.
Because there's a ton of chapters to get
kept
to.
reading last night.
So I
son of a
didn't want
bitch.
to because I did that with Tokyo Revengers, which is
Yeah.
the previous one we did. That was also fantastic. So check that out. And it was very hard for me to remember where
cut
the
the
first 4 volumes stopped at.
Yeah.
Which is what we will be reviewing today. We'll be doing the first 4 volumes.
So what blows my mind is the first 4 volumes is only 31 chapters, and like I said, there's over 100. It's like 109. So we're not even a quarter of the way through, or we're like a third of the way through, almost a quarter.
But I think it's interesting to note, and they set it up. So as I've said, the setup is they want to create the world's best striker and then eventually win the World Cup.
Yeah.
So for that to happen, there's a lot that this manga could go through. They have to weed out all of the strikers.
Yep.
Then they have to actually put together a team to go to the World Cup. Then they have to qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Then they have to
there's
win the World
so
Cup.
much.
So this manga could go on for a very long time. It's not
This
like
is true.
Haikyuu where they just want to win the high school whatever, like world
Yeah.
championships. They want to go to the World Cup.
And this isn't like a pseudo world. They're actually referencing Messi and Ronaldo. Or,
There
and all
is
those
one
things.
character that they reference as a soccer player that isn't a real soccer player.
Oh.
But a lot of 99% of the soccer players they
Yeah.
reference are actual
They-
Got you.
world class soccer
Pele
players.
and everybody
yeah.
else. And it was kind of cool seeing them in anime form. Too.
Yeah, it was really great. If you have any inkling of liking soccer at all, or they
Oh, it would be-
refer to the correct name, some would say is football.
Football, yeah.
You will love this manga, like without a doubt.
None of us are really. Well, I mean, I would say you're most into it than the 3 of us, right? In soccer.
Yeah, I used to play a lot when I was a kid, almost to when I joined the
Me
high
too.
school
I don't
soccer
know
team.
why.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Racist.
I
I've
played a
never
lot of
heard you
indoor
talk
soccer.
once about
Racist.
indoor soccer.
He
I played regular soccer
played regular
too.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I played it.
So
Well, here's where I hit you all. I did too back in 5th grade,
yeah,
and I
one
had
year,
multiple medals.
okay.
No, like 5th and 6th grade.
Was it a
I'm
participation?
gonna guess goalie.
Nope, I ran. Most of the time, I was goalie though.
Were you? Oh,
We had total tangent. Indoor soccer, smaller field, and we had this goalie, and he was a big black guy, like really, but like our age, like we were middle school or something. He was fucking awesome, and he was so good, and he was just like, just one of those guys who was built big. Like, you know, just like you don't want to fuck with him. And he would kick the ball all the way to the other side of the field. He was great. Fantastic.
This guy's a god.
I used to play with Pedro all the time.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Diego and all those guys.
But it was really interesting because so I used to work with a Scottish guy. I had for a solid couple of years, and he loved football.
Yeah,
huge
that's
into
a huge
football.
thing in Scotland.
They love it. And his team was Manchester United.
Yeah,
so it's
MU.
like anytime the games were on, we were watching it. And because of that, we watched him and I together when we worked together. We watched all of the Champions League, which they referred to in this manga.
Yeah,
they
and I was
do.
like, oh, it's like I know what that is. And it's like
Yeah.
I know the terminology because like I was watching with him, and I obviously don't follow football at all.
Yeah.
But like he was like, oh yeah, it's this one. It's like, oh, this has a long-standing rivalry. Here's this these people. They need to score this many points to get in. Here's how the system works. And
So good.
I got to hear all about the VAR introduction and the drama
the VAR,
behind
yeah.
introducing VAR into Championship League and stuff.
Was it video assisted
Referee.
Referee.
Yeah.
Big rip.
Yeah. So it was really good, and it was like getting to read this. Like, oh, I know this stuff. Like I have learned this stuff already.
So, and that's what's. I mean, you probably got that little tidbit,
Yeah.
but if you really liked it, holy shit! I
Yeah.
wonder how you like. If you really love soccer, I wonder how that would feel.
oh,
dude,
you
people would
probably
love
just
it.
enjoy the
People-
fuck
yeah,
out of it.
Yeah, because they don't. It's not just that they like reference main people. They actually go into detail like why everyone is as good as they are, why they're famous, and they like really go into high detail. So whoever wrote it,
So they talk about the striker position. Have you
Yeah,
guys,
it's-
have
if
you guys
they-
played that striker position?
So I did play. I played forward, and then I played center.
Yeah, I played right forward, and I played midfield on the left side as well.
Yeah.
wouldn't remember.
Center was the rough one. You don't, because that's back and forth.
Yeah, you run
go
back and
and
forth so fucking much.
So I did a short, brief stint as center, and then most of the time I was forward. Because,
You would be great for center now because you could fucking yeet one side of the field.
I'm a lefty, so they always put me on the right side of the field.
Yeah, and lefties are much more rare. So it's
Yeah.
like, you get somebody to fill that in, you're golden.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the manga here. We've pretty much given our thoughts. Just so you guys know, we all
Yes,
think it's
read it.
fucking fantastic.
Would you say it's one of the best ones we've read?
I would put it up there with Tokyo Revengers.
Yes, I
as in
agree.
like
I
those two
agree.
are the contender for the best we've read this year.
And they're not even the same vein. So I would say both are so good that they're in their own realm. Like they are the
So
best
good.
at this. They're the best
It's
at
a
this.
sports manga, and then we got Tokyo Revengers, which is what would we call
Murder mystery.
Yeah, kind of
kinda like a
kind of
murder
a weird
mystery,
one.
but
Yeah.
Holy shit, it holds you.
Yeah, so check those two out. Tokyo Revengers you can actually get legitimately digitally. Blue Lock is not available anywhere, so
Yeah.
it is not your fault if you pirate it or do it illegally because.
You
Guys,
gotta- you
I
gotta
would buy
find it
your
somehow.
fucking volume. Somebody license
Yeah.
Blue Lock. What the fuck is happening?
Make
Like,
it a fucking
the
anime
art-
as well.
Yes.
It's like just do something with it. It's so good.
I would say before we even get into spoilers, like the art is fantastic. The way they like
Fluid.
yeah, the
Just
way they
fluid.
draw everything too. I didn't feel like I misunderstood the shots.
Oh, that's very important to talk about because I have watched all of Haikyuu, and I tried when I caught up to Haikyuu, I tried to read the manga, and that's a volleyball anime, in case you guys don't know. And I tried to, and I found it very hard to figure out what was happening in the volleyball manga. This was done so well. I did not have a single problem, and I think a part of that was the fact that it is a fan translation, which I feel like when it's a fan translation, they always go more into detail on certain things. Where like, oh, he just did
With the
this
little
move.
translations at
the
the bottom.
nutmeg
asterisk,
or something like.
This move is popularized by this guy. It means you do this, and it's like, oh, I can see that now.
They
I get
really
it.
went ham on those.
They talked about the hat tricks.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that move that
the roulette.
The roulette,
nutmeg.
Yeah. So it's
They-
like you're learning like soccer terminology,
yeah,
as
yeah.
you're going, and it's done fantastically. And the characters are fucking amazing also.
And I haven't read Haikyuu, so I'm not sure how they went about the action shots. But what was really cool about this one is they had a multi-person shot. So
Oh,
you,
yeah, I
you
love
would
that.
see them here, you would see a ghost image here, and then you would see them in the
Yeah.
final destination over there. It's like that's how he did the move.
Same with the
Okay.
ball thing. They did the same thing with the actor.
It's almost a master class, man. If you want to see how to do the action sequence and make it look clear, check out this. It's so good.
I would also say the last thing, I don't know if they were intending to do this. They made every person in this manga hot in some weird, strange way.
Yeah.
They're all
Can we
dudes.
talk about other Bakugo?
No.
yeah, right?
No
He's
spoilers. So, no
so hot,
spoilers.
but so hot.
Okay, so we're going into spoilers now because Jose cannot hold himself back at this point. So
Don't do this to me.
we're going into spoiler territory. If you just wanted to know, is it good? Should you read it? Should you check it out? That's for you guys. We all loved it, 100%. Check out Blue Lock. Fucking tweet about it. Make it popular. I want to fucking buy stuff from Blue Lock.
I do too.
You know what? Let's get that trending. All
So-
1,400 of you, Do it.
We're going to move into spoilers. Full spoiler review, what we liked, what we didn't like, what happened, all the way up to volume 4.
Yes.
So you've been warned. We're going to go into talk. We'll start from the beginning where they first get introduced to the Blue Lock system. Our main character, Isagi, his last name. He's who we follow from the beginning. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
So
I'm
basically,
so happy they didn't make him some timid little kid. Like, he very much quickly is like, okay, I get the system. Here's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Let's try and get this thing on the road.
Holy fuck, though. They, from the get-go, they don't, like...
Just the minute they enter that little, like, room.
They fuck you.
I feel like, and they touch on this as a theme throughout the whole manga, and I like it. I like it a lot how Japan is not good at soccer. It's just not something that they're good at because
They're
as a
actually pretty
person,
good, though.
they're used to sharing the
Yeah.
ball, and they like having very specific categories and like positions.
Like, you're
to
good
play.
at it being a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
We appreciate you for being who you are.
Well, no, not even
Maybe
that.
not.
No,
Oh,
it's
really?
like they like having
Like
this is
sharing the
your
glory.
job.
Yeah.
You
Do
just do this back and forth. Do not
Got
do
you.
anything else. That's why they said baseball, which is true because
Yeah.
I think the Anaheim Angels, which is close to us, they have a Japanese baseball player that's fantastic.
Oh, Tani.
Yeah.
He's great.
Like,
I
he's
love
blowing
him.
up the whole thing.
Yeah.
So the Japanese are great, and they're like, yeah, because in baseball, you literally, here's your quadrant, you stay there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
But
true.
in soccer, you have to constantly go and switch and work with the flow. So like it goes against the Japanese values.
Yeah.
And that's why an ego is like, I'm gonna make a striker that's totally different from all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's like you need to be selfish. Don't pass the ball.
Yeah.
Take the shot.
It's like no holds barred. They don't care how you play the game.
Yep.
They don't care as long as you play it legally and as long as you make sure that you are the striker by
I
the
like
end of
the
it.
part when he starts saying is like, in order for me to achieve my goal, I have to crush everyone else's
Yeah.
dreams. And I'm like,
And
damn,
that's-
son.
That's crazy because they talk about it's like you need to be able to have that feeling like when you win and you crush somebody, you like it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you're into it. And that's how they start the manga off. Is
Yeah.
our main character loses because he does a pass instead of he
loses
takes the
to
shot.
To a kid who's considered what Japan's national
Yeah,
treasure.
like one of the rising stars
Yeah.
of soccer.
But he probably could have, tied that match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of basically what they imply is like he did the Japanese thing where it's
Yeah.
a team sport. Let me pass it off to my guy who plays a team, which is very Haikyuu.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they saw Haikyuu and they're like, because volleyball is very much a team sport.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, yeah, pass. There's like, it's all about being a team. This one, like, no, fuck the team. It's
Yeah.
like we're only focused on making the best striker,
Be like
no other
Messi.
positions.
Be like Lionel Messi.
They say
He's
that
a
multiple
fucking
times
beast,
to be
yeah.
those guys. So they set that theme up from the very beginning, and he loses because of it.
Yeah.
And then they go to the meeting where they first meet Ego, and he's saying what's going to happen, and everybody is against it.
Yeah.
The 100. Well, how many
He's
people do they pull?
300.
300.
kids.
And he's just shitting on them, too.
Yeah.
He's like, 1, you're unpolished gems. 2, I don't give a fuck what you think about soccer. Fuck it all. Like,
Yeah.
dude,
We're doing things
And
my
nobody
way.
wants to do it at first.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, we're not going to give up our chances at going
Oh,
to
yeah,
like
my
our
teams,
regular
yeah.
nationals. Like,
Be-
why would we give it up?
Because they're not just, hey, we're going to have you guys show up every week
Yeah.
and we're going to do one thing. No, you literally live at Blue Lock. You don't do anything else. You lose your phone. You eat the meals.
Yeah, which
we
by
give
the
you.
way, I don't believe for a second that every parent would sign off on that.
They
No
did. There's
fucking
no way.
There's no way.
But everybody did apparently in this world. They're
Hey,
just
yeah.
like, yeah,
Hey.
here, take my kids, put them in a prison, and they're never allowed to play soccer again if they lose.
One of my favorite parts though is the meal system.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
The
yeah.
lower ranked you are, the shittier your food
So
is.
yeah, let's talk about the setup too. So obviously they all
The
get
facility
accepted
and
to it.
everything?
Let's try and stay chronological, and we'll move through it. They all get accepted. Nobody wants to go until Isagi, our main character, is the first one who's like, "I'm gonna do it."
But what it's not even just that. Jinpachi's just like, all right, if you guys want to fucking walk. I'm gonna paint you an image real quick, and it's basically the image that we got with Isagi,
yeah.
where he didn't want to pass, but
Yeah.
he did it anyway. He's like, and you take that goal and it feels fucking good, and you like crush their dreams, and he's just like, yeah, that's me, and just books it, and everyone
Well,
else
he
is like,
says at that
He
part,
has a
he's
little
like, "You need to
speech, yeah.
screw your teammates." Like,
yeah.
even if like, yeah, that would make more sense. Fuck your teammates. Like,
Yep.
it's about you. It's like passing should be a last resort.
Mm-hmm. And everyone books it, and the only person who's like really hardcore against
Yeah.
it is the star of Japan, that Jose
Kira,
brought up.
right?
Yeah, which is Isagi's kind of friend because they both just were in a match together, so they're the only two people who know each other.
Yeah.
Like they recognize each other, like, oh, thank God, someone we know is here.
And
Yeah.
Kira's very
Yeah.
supportive. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, you were great. Like, I knew you were doing really
Yeah.
good.
I think he even
And-
says at one point, if we were teammates, we would have been great.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
reason that he accepts it as well, even though he disagrees with the philosophy as a whole, is he wants to prove him wrong.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
wants to prove Ego wrong. that this is not the way it is. It's a team sport because he idolizes the people already on the National World Cup team. He thinks they're fantastic.
Yes.
So that's when we get the setup to what is the whole manga as a whole. We eventually go to Blue Lock, and that is our prison system, which is basically set up in a pentagon.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pentagon.
And it's 5 quadrants set up, each
Stratums.
with 5 stratums. You're correct. That is the correct terminology. 5 stratums set up with how many floors? Do you remember 3 floors, 4 floors?
I don't remember how many floors.
I think it was 4 because I think they had
4.
They had 2 playing fields on each stratum. So 4 floors, 5 teams in each of 11. Well, actually 12 at the start, and then they immediately get rid of one person and make it down to 11.
Yeah.
And that's when it kicks off, and you're like, wow.
So
they enter this tiny little room.
Yeah.
And then they're all kind of just hanging out. They're changing, and then Ego comes back on the screen, and he's just like, "All right, everybody, we're gonna play tag."
And it's 12 people that most people don't know anybody else.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
like, "Here you go, hop in," and which I was very confused by this idea when he said it. He was like, "Okay, we're gonna play tag with the ball," and then he says, "Whoever has the possession loses." But like the whole point of soccer is to have the possession, so it's like a bit of a reverse. So I was confused.
Yeah. I had to read it again just because I was like, wait,
it was
you
a more
have the ball at the end.
Yeah, but it was a more literal sense of tag where it's like you got hit last.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we get introduced to the ranking system right then and there too.
Yeah, and you find out that of course our main character is in
second
Z.
to last.
They're sorted by alphabetical. I think from B to Z is what they say. Right? There's not an A team.
I think A will be like
the final.
I was
team.
just thinking about that. I couldn't figure it out. But
so I think they're in Z, and they're Ego, his hand chosen people who are either already spectacularly good, have potential, or just his own personal biasness is what he says at one point. And he has hand selected 300 people who are all from high school to come in and do this training. So we meet our main character and the 11 other people who he only knows one of them, doesn't know any of the other ones, and they immediately have to play tag. Whoever has at the end of 3 minutes is out. Like they're just done. And
2 minutes.
The asterisk
it was 1
here,
minute 36 seconds.
Okay, so the asterisk here is that if you get out of Blue Lock, you can never play soccer ever again. That was the agreement.
You can't play the national team.
Yeah,
you can still go pro, but you can't play on the national team.
I feel like they said their soccer career is done. If they lose,
I think that's the equivalent.
If they lose Blue Lock, it's just done.
Yeah, because you want to end up playing for the national team.
Because I think at one point Ego's even like, you're not going to make it anywhere else. Like if you don't make it here, then like you're never going to get hired.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Like that was fucked up. And it's like, so it puts like a huge amount of pressure on it, and that. Like they start right from the get go. I was stressing. I'm like, holy shit, how are they gonna get this?
Well, I'm like, what if the main character just fucking loses?
So it's weird because I had like a lot of like kind of like a meta like thought watching it or like reading it, because I was looking at a lot of the character designs of like the people who are in his room, and it's like they're kind of generic. Like they very clearly, like you called one of them Bakugo. They very clearly take inspiration from other stuff. So I saw them and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna know any of these characters. They're all gonna get fucking taken out instantly. Who cares? And then we stick with him for a long time.
The monk,
which I thought for sure a lot of them were just like, yeah, we're done with him. But no, it's like they play the tag game. It's Isagi's kind of not getting. Everybody's hiding. I like the part they're all hiding in one corner. And they're like, guys, why are we all here? Like, stop. And basically, you're just trying to pelt somebody with the ball. It is the whole game plan. And eventually, it goes to Baki, and he is amazing. Just
which one's Baki? Is he
the guy who has a demon inside of him? Is what he says.
Oh, Bakira.
Yeah, Bakira.
Yeah,
amazing character, and he's immediately someone who like he can tell Isagi, which is our main character, is like him.
Yeah,
and he's like, I like you. It's like we're gonna be good.
But I like how he steals the ball from him, and then he's just like, "Oops, I'm gonna kick it at you."
Yeah,
because it wasn't. It was basically, oh shit, like. Did the monk's leg get snapped at that point?
Yeah, like his ankle.
Sprained his ankle.
And it was okay. That's easy target. What do you take? And Isagi like, wait, no.
Yeah.
Like I would never. Like I should never take the easiest route.
Not Sam. Sam would instantly kill him.
Yeah.
Bap.
You're out, dog.
Suck a dick. But fucking Isagi went for it. He went for it, and it scared the fuck out of me. He went and shot Kira in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so caught off guard.
Well, he didn't do it on purpose, so he says.
It was all instinct.
Yeah.
You're missing out the part. He missed the ball. He didn't have the ball. Like, that wasn't a 1-to-1. It was Bakira who passed it back to him, and he was like, fuck, and then just instinct took over, and he fucking nailed Kira right in the face.
And he had what, like 1 or 2 seconds left?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, and that's when we find out the guy who we thought was gonna be the main character's best friend is out immediately.
Yep.
Like, that is it. And he was the one who was drawn the most unique. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, he's gonna be in here a long time. It's gonna eventually lead to some heartfelt thing where they have to go against each other. And it's like, nope, he's out. Sorry.
Just straight
And
up got him out.
He went from nice guy to like
He has a
fucking
freak
angry.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was yelling at Ego, telling him to fuck off.
Yeah.
Everybody was just like, damn, like this guy.
But I did like the part where Ego did tell Kira, where he's like, you could have just as easily still gotten the ball and kicked it at the down guy. It's like, you
Yeah.
could have done it
I like the
easy.
science
But
of
instead,
it.
you decided not to.
Yeah.
And it's like, so
He
you're
does
out.
it- he like breaks it down. He's like, all right, the room you're in is what's right in front of the goalpost.
Yeah.
And he's like, that small room is enough for you to kind of like try to figure out how to wiggle around and stuff. And he's like, you could have caught the ball and easily kicked it towards the down kid.
Yep.
And I'm like,
dude, and it's so crazy because it's not just, oh, it's a soccer manga, like, oh hey, like they know enough about soccer to play the game. No, like it was hardcore detailed. Like, this is 75% of matches are fought in this little goalkeep area. You guys always have it for this amount of time. Like, this is where
and
it's
they do
in.
this thing, which I'm sure you guys loved as well, the eyes. Where
Oh.
they're like,
Yeah.
and I think the first time we see it is here with Isagi, where
Yep.
he like, his instinct takes over and you see his eyes. They go like black.
Yeah.
And it's you just know like he's like in the zone. Like he's about to fuck somebody up.
I also
So-
really appreciate when they start naming all the characters and they start slapping the names
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
It's very present, Mike.
It's very good because it's like it's very hard to remember all the names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like almost every time like here's their rank, here's their name. It's like I appreciate that. Thank you.
And with the eye thing, like I think it is one of those like psychological things
Yeah.
where it's like, oh yeah, but it takes the reader into this like, oh, it's a shonen.
It reminds me of like Naruto when he used to go demon, like
yeah.
Fox
Yeah,
mode, and like his
definitely.
eyes would go all like
Yeah.
scribbly.
it's like Natsu.
Yeah, yeah. That's what it reminded me. I was like, oh, okay,
Shit's
sweet.
popping off.
So from there, they immediately get down from 12 to 11 teammates because Kira's out. Done.
Yeah.
We've not seen him
We
since
never
then.
hear him.
So I feel like they could bring him back at some point.
He's gonna be the bionic
He-
guy that they've like raised into A team.
Well, I feel like he could be on like an opposing team and be like, fuck you, I found my own team, and I'm
Yeah.
going to try and take you on. I feel like that could be the case, but we're not there yet. We don't know.
Yeah.
From there, they immediately like, okay, this is your new team. Like, you're all strikers, but this is your team. You'll be playing with each other. You'll be going against other teams.
Yeah.
Get ready. It's like, because if we're just hopping in, they get like no time at
Yeah,
all.
exactly. And the hard part is they're all strikers. There's no
It's
defense.
so funny because they all run after the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go right into the round robin.
Oh, yeah.
So they have 5 stratums, like Sam said. So they're in the lowest stratum, and they're the lowest ranked of the lowest stratum. And it's VWXYZ.
Yep.
Are the 5 groups. And it's round robin. Everyone has to play against each other. And based off your scores at the end of the session, the top 2 teams will get sent to the next round. Well,
I don't even think there's the next round. They will just pass
They
forward.
will
I don't
pass
think they're
forward.
going to do
Go forward,
another
yeah.
red robin, I would assume.
It feels like this could go on for a
Yeah.
long time, but I
yeah,
feel
they
like
just
that's
say
not.
they'll continue on in blue lock.
Yeah. So, and then the rest of the teams are kicked, and then again removed from being eligible for nationals and everything. So that immediately sets up like, holy shit, like this is stressful. They go into their first game, which was with.
Well, you're missing out on the important part as well,
Which
is
one?
that the top striker on each
On
team
each
will
team,
survive
yeah.
as well.
That's right.
Whoever scores the most goals will also get to survive,
And
which
move
I
on,
feel like
yeah.
there's an odd number for that. I don't know what they're going to
It's
do with all of
strange.
those.
They'll probably create
Because
another team on the
Let's
side.
do the math really quick. There's 5 stratums, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 3 people, 3 times 5, 15. There will be 15 people who will be
and then they
moving
just
on to the
kill
next
4 of
round.
them.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
they'll
yeah,
have
that's
like
Team
a-
A.
right. That doesn't work out well. It's like that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I can guarantee you they thought of it though.
Yeah, they
Like-
got it down.
Like-
Maybe aside from the other 2 teams.
And I do think because obviously, so Josh said Red Robin. They're gonna have to play against 4 other teams.
Round robin. I'm sorry.
Um,
Yum.
so they do set up that it's like you meet these cool characters. So I think they will continue. Like, hey, you remember that really cool character from the team that
Yeah.
is clearly lost?
Oh,
They'll keep going forward.
What's that dude with like the X's in his hair?
The guy who refers to himself as the king.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
guy a lot. I like
What
that guy a
a
lot.
god.
Yeah.
I like that guy a lot.
So that's the group they go up against very first.
Yeah.
They get
and-
their ass beat.
Yeah.
Well, so the cool thing, and I love like the psychology in it. They're basically like, okay, everyone's a striker. They made it very clear, like Sam said. The main point is whoever scores the most goals is gonna stay safe into the next round. So everyone immediately starts trying to fucking play striker. No one's playing goalkeep. No one's playing defense. And all of a sudden this dude, and the way they draw him, he's like a fucking demon. And it's so cool. But he's like, I'm going to fucking, like, what is it? I'm going to fucking kill you or something.
Yeah.
Like, or I don't know. But he's got like this calm face, and then he scores the goal.
He starts calling everyone a peasant.
He does the whole king thing so well.
Well, there's like a whole psychological thing to it because, like, imagine for a second, you know, it's like, yeah, it's supposed to be a team sport, but if you score the most goals, just you can survive no matter what.
Selfish as
So then
fuck.
nobody wants to play the team positions because there has to be team positions. So like defense, goalie, nobody wants to play those.
And passing is a last resort.
Yeah.
So if you don't take it to the goal, you're not doing your fucking job.
And then, like, anytime somebody fucks up and gets the ball, everybody's fighting.
Yeah.
Everybody's mad.
People are stealing from their teammates. And this king guy comes in and basically scores the first goal, and everyone's like, oh shit, he good. So we should follow him. And they immediately fall into line and start playing around him, and that makes them better.
They always got the ball to him. It's you know, it's a fucking great mentality.
And that's one of the things that Ego eventually goes on to say is, like, the whole point is you have one good striker, it brings the whole team together. Immediately, everybody's following that guy.
And Isagi had that in the back of his head. He's like, oh, this is what happened, but they weren't able to beat him in time. What was their loss rate? Was it just the 1-0, or was it? No, it was 1-4.
Yeah.
Who did they give it to?
Kunigami.
Yeah, Kunigami, yeah.
Who is one of my favorites. So he's
fantastic.
He's established himself as, like, play it fair and square, but he's also like he knows when to give people compliments, but he can't take one himself.
Oh, that was such a sweet moment after they did that, and he's like, "Oh, look, I got steak. It's a perk for getting one goal in."
Because that's what happened. Basically, Isagi he had like that fucking snap in his mind. Was gonna go take it to the goal and passed it to our boy. Yeah. And he made the fucking launch cannon shot, and they were able to get one.
Well, that comes up again as well because there was an opportunity for Isagi to shoot also, but once again he fucking passed instead of doing it. But even then, everybody was mad because he passed to the wrong guy. Yeah. And he's like, I could smell the goal off that guy.
Because he had two people, one was less guarded and one was more guarded, and he passed it to the more guarded one. But again, like Sam said, he could smell the fucking goal off of him. And after that match, they go into, you need to start finding your weapon. Like, you need to start building up, like, why you're important to this team and stuff like that. And our main character's like, I don't fucking know. Like, I ain't got shit.
And he's just sitting there eating his soup and his rice.
Yeah, and people were like, oh, I'm really good at dribbling, or I'm really good at fucking technique and speed, and I'm really in jumping.
Yeah.
Dude, dunks, man.
yeah.
And there's that, and then we had a few characters that had useless powers, like the fucking monk, which was unyielding spirit.
Yeah, that fucking guy.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know we were making up weapons.
Yeah, it's just like, what is that? And but Isagi's kind of going on this like mental quest. He goes,
but he's also starting to feel bad because he realized while training with everyone that he's not as good as everyone there.
That is true, which is crazy because he's set himself up to be god tier. Like, he's really good. He's got like this whole perception of everything going on around him. He was able to, like, he said he saw that the goal was going to come from the other guy, so he gave it to him. And he's just like, oh, dude, I'm not good. Like, I'm support pretty much. And he starts having his meal, and I keep forgetting his fucking name. Let me just pull it up.
The one Sam just said?
Kunigami. He comes in and is like, hey, we get a point system. Like, if you score a goal, you get this. If you score 3 goals, you get this. If you score up to 10, you get this. It was like getting your phone back, getting a nice bed, getting a day outside, kind of thing like that. Very prison-like mentality.
Yeah, but if you score 1 point, you get a fucking steak.
Yep, a nice sirloin steak. So he's like, hey, because of you, I got my point, like Jose brought up. So he splits the steak with him, and they start talking. He's like, hey, like, really thank you for that. Like, I appreciate it. Also, I think you're he wanted to talk to him about Isagi's like weapon. He's like, dude, I just don't know. And he's like, why did you pass it to me? Like, it didn't make sense. He's like, oh, well, I smelt it off you, like Sam brought up. So he's like, maybe that's your weapon. You can smell a goal like before it happens. And I was like, it was such a weird talent to give to somebody. I'm like, that just doesn't seem like a thing.
Yeah.
It gets explored on way more.
It eventually, we'll just refer to it as spatial awareness, which is what they say later, and that makes much more sense.
Yeah.
Because, it's fucking fantastic. It's so good. And it's like they kind of show that, I think between each match, they have, a couple days?
And they have like a day or two.
They're like, all right, here you go. Best of luck.
Here's what you got to do to prepare. And then
after the first game, they eventually decide on they need to win 2, draw
At
one
least,
out of the 3 just to survive, because that would get them above the average.
Yep.
The average most teams are going to get is 6.
Yes, and all this information is coming from pretty much the guy that's leading their party now, who's Kuon, who's the hops guy. He's like, here's our strategy, here's the odds that we have going on, basically like, here's what we need to do, and they start coming up with a tactic because they lost, and they come up with a new tactic for the next team, which I think was Team W, and so they start coming up with their thing. They're like, hey, everyone's got their weapons now. They've got this equipped in their mind. They're like, in order for everyone to get their chance at their shot, we're going to give you specific formations with everybody as the lead for about 10 minutes. Yeah. And so they just keep switching counterclockwise.
I love how everyone's like, all right, it's my turn next.
Yeah. And they went in, and who was it? They had, I think the guy was like named Nico Atawa or something like that. And he was this like Mohawk dude, super punk looking. And then there was like a mop head guy, and that game was fantastic. It was so good because basically they're playing them.
Mohawk dude reminds me of Magna.
Yeah. And they're going back and forth, and basically like they're not able to do anything because they were able to get like a few passes along, but they weren't able to score a goal, I believe. And all of a sudden, mop head guy's like, I've analyzed everything you've done, and just starts fucking with everybody. Yep. And at this point, the ball's now in their possession, and our main character doesn't starts to realize like, hey, wait, the main guy that's like supposed to be really fucking good is not doing anything. Like he's just standing there. What the hell's going on? Puts it together in like half a second, realizes, oh fuck, they're gonna get the ball to him in the last second. He's gonna score the goal, and he does it fantastically.
They had it tied, right?
Yeah. He does.
Well, they talk about in that game how they think they basically have pinpointed the Mohawk guy is the all-star. But then it's like, no, it's actually the mop head guy.
Yeah,
is what
by
they
the
come
end
to
of
at
it, they're like,
end.
holy shit.
It's not actually the Mohawk guy who's really good. It's the mop head guy who's like fucking controlling the whole field. He basically has Isagi's power.
Yeah.
Is what it comes to.
And they start, it's weird because he's like, oh, I have the same eyes as you. Like, he has this like really cool like monologue between the two of them.
Which is always good. I like kind of like when the main character meets somebody who's very similar to him. And
see
it's
how
like,
they use
it's like, here's how you need to do it. Like Ichigo and Hichigo.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, dude, come on.
Do
it's
the
like,
spinnies.
Let's go. Yeah, it's like, let's get this thing on the road. Like, you're fucking up.
And
Learn to use
was,
your sword.
Yeah, Mophead was fucking him up, too.
Yeah.
And I think once he realized that, oh, shit, it's Mophead, he starts pinning on him. And Isagi was killing it. Like, that first, like, save and everything. They did fantastic. And they were like, okay, now that, you know, we know Mophead's the main guy, he's running to the main goal, he's about to take his shot. Isagi's like, no, wait, never mind. Like, he's always going to pass it to Nitoa or whatever, the other guy. So he was able to intercept it and then fucking pass it back. And they took that fucking goal, and oh my God. They crushed that kid, and he was crying. You finally get to see his eyes.
Dude, that scene where Isagi, he like, everybody's like celebrating, like they're happy that they won,
and he's like,
and Isagi goes off by himself to go walk through the whole team crying,
and
like,
he's like, I like this,
and he's like, yeah, I like this feeling. It's like, oh shit.
I was just like, what did they make?
And
dude?
then you get to see Ego, right? He's watching. He's like,
he's
like,
he's just sitting there like, yeah, this is
it's
good
all
shit.
coming together, baby. It does seem like Ego very much likes Team Z. Obviously, we don't get to see his interaction with the other teams.
Yeah,
but I assume because he talks about a lot how you need to start from the bottom.
Yeah.
You need to backs against the wall to really grow. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if from the very beginning he like picked people specifically for Team Z, and he was like, these people are going to be the best ones because they have the worst odds. Yeah. So they have to start all the way from the bottom.
Exactly. And I think I was thinking you're right because it's mind-boggling how much further we could go because we're only in the 5th stratum at the lowest of the low. There's 4 other stratums, and apparently they're all better tiers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're already playing people like the King guy, decimated them. They had a rough time with this group. And then, like, the next 2 matches they have are fucking pretty rough, too.
Yeah, they're all intense. Pretty much a match takes place between each volume almost.
Yeah. And what's crazy to me is, like, oh, shit, like, how much better can these guys get? I want to know if this is like my theory crafting at this point. So I'm starting to see people are going into their plans. Like we've got the guy that stays goalkeeper. He's like, it doesn't make sense. Even if I want to have like my time to shine, it doesn't make sense for me to constantly switch my position to get my moment to shine out there. So I'll stay goalkeeper for this session. And then other people are like, yeah, I'll stay back in the guard because again, it doesn't make sense to change your defense constantly. So, people are starting to find their roots, and slowly through the manga, you start seeing people get really good at what they're doing. They're like, this one guy is a center. He's blocking. This one dude, he's fucking god tier at it. This one person's like a runner and all this stuff. I'm wondering if this isn't to make just the best striker. It's to make a team that works so well together.
Well, I think so as well, is what they're going to go to. But they do also set up the opposite, where there is already an outside soccer player who is supposed to be spectacular, that he doesn't want anything to do with Japan. He thinks they suck. The soccer team,
he's from Spain,
not for
right?
him. He's from Japan.
He's from Japan,
but he plays for the other teams because they're better.
Yeah.
It's like there's no point being in Japan.
But that's what happens in real life too.
Yeah, it is. Until he hears about the Blue Lock system, and then he's like, okay, I'm interested
in it.
So they already set up that he obviously will probably join the eventual team, but I do feel like as well the main goal is to make the whole team. So it could go one of two ways. They either take the whole team as a whole, or at the very end they're like, no, you guys have to fight each other.
Shut up. I don't want that.
And then they just make a whole new team and we meet new people. But I would find that very hard to believe, because it does make sense with the theme of the whole manga, where he's constantly like, strikers are the number one. You need strikers.
Yeah.
So if your whole team, no matter what position it is strikers, and they're just like, you have your defender striker, you have your goalie striker.
Yeah, that seems so in line with Ego's like attempt at making a team. Like, it just seems like in line.
Whereas like fucking anybody's a striker. It's like, oh, the goalie's coming out, he's a striker.
Is that a knife? It's a gun.
Yeah,
it's a gun in his
so
leg.
that makes a lot of sense to me. But I could also see him. It's very psychological. I could also see them at the very end. All right, these people that you've been friends with this whole time, eliminate them.
Because like
in their soccer career,
they fucking killed Kira right off the beginning.
And like we just got done talking about, if you're a striker, crush them.
Exactly.
Crush your friends.
Enjoy it.
Crush your teammates.
And
which they've said.
I'm almost curious if they will go that route, just to show how hard someone will go to pick them as the final striker.
And then it would give them a little bit of leeway as well, where when they do go to make the actual Nationals or World Cup team, you meet all new people. So they basically get to start over from ground one or square one and go like, all right, now we're doing this again. So retrain. You're the best striker. Don't take shit from them.
Yeah. But I'm so hard pressed to see that happen, because again, as you read it, they make every character so niche and so perfect with each other, and it's like really difficult for me to be like, oh, why would you cut this team apart? But yeah.
So then we get to our third match. So we've done 4 volumes. We get to see 4 matches.
Yep.
Third match, they play against the team that has the twins, and a classic twin thing.
Twins.
They can communicate in a way nobody else can. The one brother doesn't speak and just does like weird facial expressions.
Yep.
And the other brother can understand, and basically the unspoken brother is an asshole.
Yes.
And the one that speaks is just like, yeah, my brother said, you're a piece of shit. Why are you even playing soccer?
Yep.
I would love if one's mute and the other one's just really the one shit talking.
Yeah. And like the whole time the guy can speak, like, what? It's like,
why are you saying these things?
What I was trying to say. It's like, nope.
Because he does open his mouth, but he never makes a single sound. So he probably is mute in some way. But they are decimating those guys.
Yeah, at the start, Huan, right, is his name, and he does a hat trick, which is the best anybody's ever done. And he's been their tactician.
Yeah.
And he's just been fucking fantastic. He made the plans.
Guy, right?
Yeah. He's just done a great job. And then they make the 3 goals, and all of a sudden they start getting creamed. It's like, what happened? It's
Things start happening like
Huan has started just giving up the ball. Like they're passing it to Huan because like clearly you're on fire. And I think they use the phrase, the ketchup is coming out hard today, because it's a soccer player phrase that someone has coined.
So you keep hitting it, and some days the ketchup doesn't come out, but when you actually get the ketchup to come out, it just all comes out at once.
Sauces.
So, and it's like sometimes you have good days, sometimes you just fucking score a fuck ton of them. Other days, you don't get anything.
Yeah.
And so Juan's having that day where he's just popping off. And they eventually tie the game. It's 3-3, and everybody's pissing Juan, like, what are you doing? It's like you keep giving up the ball. Our main character eventually puts together that Huan was smirking. He's like, that doesn't make any sense. He starts kind of doing his spatial awareness stuff, and he puts it together by himself. He showed up late before the match started.
Yeah.
He just was on fire. Now he's not, and he's clearly giving up a lot of balls, and he missed on purpose, I think is what gives it away.
Yeah.
He's like, he should have been able to stop that, but he whiffed the ball.
Yeah, right? Like, he just completely
He goes for a header, and he's like, oops, I missed. And that's when he confronts him as he's on the ground, like, apologizing, like, why did you betray us?
Yeah.
And then he is still trying to play along, Huan. He's like, but then the 2 twins are like, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He's like, come on, tell him. It's like, just.
Dude, it's so fucked up.
And then he crosses his fucking shirt, and he's just like, yeah, I'm on X team now.
Yeah, which is like, that was like, okay, we're gonna play 12 versus 10 now. I'm gonna help them out, and I was like, that's going hard. It's
that's
like
fucked up.
because 12 versus 10 is like that would be impossible.
But it's also in the back of your mind, like that's such an ego move that you're thinking maybe he's gonna get points for this because he's fucked his own team over.
See,
he doesn't care.
I didn't think that. When I saw him do that, I thought for sure he was gonna get some sort of retribution from ego because that's not a striker thing to do.
It isn't.
That doesn't help you become a better striker. So I thought ego was for sure gonna like.
But he was playing the game.
Hammer the fuck out of him, but it's legal. It's like play the game however you want. He put that fucking survival thing in there.
Yeah. So that was pretty rough because it's not just that it's 12 versus 10. The guy that left was also the tactician, gave all of their secrets away, everyone's weapons, how they play the game. They gave that all away, which was super stressful. So the twins were fucking with Isagi, messing up his spatial perception. They were fucking around with the kid, Bachira. They wouldn't allow him to dribble. They kind of kept him blocked.
Yeah, it was a 2-on-1.
They would purposely block the fucking shots from Bakugo. Dude, I need to learn his fucking name. But they would purposely block his shots so that he couldn't get any distance on it. It was genuinely insane how they were outplaying him, and then they were just, fucking around. Kuon was still going to get the top scorer. He's like, if I get the top scores, doesn't matter if you guys get kicked, we're going to go on to the next thing, and I'm going to be saved to the next round. Because you guys don't get it, the reason I've betrayed you is Team V played the guys that crushed us and absolutely crushed them. Got like 8-0 or something like that. Yeah. And they're like, holy shit, those guys did 1-4 and we couldn't even keep up with them. They weren't even like a team yet. Once they become a team, they're going to be great. And they got crushed immediately. And it's like, oh, there's no way. Even if we win this one, even if we, win the next 3 or win the next 2, there's no way we'll even tie with those guys. Yeah. There's just no fucking way.
And so eventually the game gets to a 4-3. So with our team obviously down. Yeah. And it is important to note to pause here in the story and talk about a character we haven't talked about at all. His name is Chigiri.
Oh, yeah.
They play the trap game with him.
They play the trap game hard on this character because very much looks like a girl. And the color pictures very much looks like a girl. Mm-hmm. Also, they refer to him as princess.
Yeah, they do call him a princess.
He just sits in the background.
And there were a couple of times, obviously it's a fan translation, they refer to him as a her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was confused. And like the first couple of volumes, but it is for sure he. Mm-hmm. He's just a very beautiful he.
Man, yeah.
And he actually knows the twins. And they refer to him at the very beginning when they're like, is that really the guy?
Yeah.
And you find out his backstory where he basically tore his ACL, and he used to be a sprinter, and he used to be basically just like Isagi. Like, he just loved the game. He wanted to be the best.
And he was one of the fastest, too.
Yeah, and he was getting all kinds of publicity on magazines and stuff, and, of course, tore his ACL, and could never do it again and was just too scared. So he's come to Blue Lock looking for a reason to give up on soccer. He, in his mind, still obviously wants to play, but he's looking for, like, a giant wall where he's like, okay, I'll never get to that point. What's the point of me playing?
That's it, and it's rough.
Yeah. So the penultimate thing is like we get his backstory, and then of course he's watching Isagi, and Isagi goes beast mode. He's like, I'm gonna win. I have to win.
Everyone's mad at him too because he's like hoarding the ball. They're like, dude, you gotta fucking pass.
Well, that's the striker mentality. It's like the eyes come out, and he's like, I'm fucking gonna win this game no matter what.
He's like a feral fucking animal.
I like that imagery though, where he's got like the locks and the.
I think that's a perfect way to describe it. Isagi, he does play like a feral animal. Like, he just lets everything go. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna get the ball. It's like, fuck you guys.
And I remember the one part where like Chigiri is like, oh, dude, like calm down. Like, this is stupid. And I think he passes it to Chigiri or goes past her or him, and then just throws him to the fucking ground. He's like, get the fuck out of my way.
Move, bitch.
And like Jose brought up, there's a scene where she's like, he is all stressed. He's like, I've got this fucking thing. And they do this like massive chain down on his knee because he's so scared of like ripping it.
Yeah, if he thinks if he runs full speed again because he's a sprinter, that he could tear again and it's game over forever.
Yeah. And so he's just sitting there with all that. And then, of course, our boy comes by, throws him to the fucking ground, doesn't give two shits, keeps going. And I screen capped it when I was reading it last night. I literally lost my shit. And I think this is the end of volume 3, right?
Yeah.
That single panel it gave me fucking chills.
Was it the end of
That was the end.
Yeah, okay.
They were pretty good about doing about a match of volume, which is weird because I don't think it even started until volume 2.
Yeah.
But we do end like the fourth match is for the fourth volume.
Well, so the first volume is 4 chapters or something like that, but they're very long.
Very long, yeah.
And it sets up a lot. and then we get like 8 volumes or something.
So
like
do we get? I obviously
or
this
8
is just
chapters in
us
the volume
guessing. So second volume, that's obviously is that first match and part of second? Is that how that works? And
I
then,
feel like maybe the last match was in volume
because definitely I
1,
feel like volume 4 was almost all set up for
yeah,
the fourth match
which isn't even
and
over
not
yet.
even done
Yeah.
yet.
So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it is that
Yeah.
kind of offset and it's still going.
And then I think it eventually like catches up.
But so the thing that basically we've established the person who gave Isagi spatial awareness as the title was Chigiri. Like, hey, I've been watching your videos. This is what it is. I'm gonna quit because of you because you're better than me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so Chigiri is getting pissed. Like he's seething,
Yeah.
like blood boiling that he is seeing fucking Isagi going off like this. Like, no, this is my chance. And Isagi's like in the middle of being a fucking feral animal, runs to the corner, and then he slides his face. He's like, I smell the goal, and passes it into this like random spot, and everyone's like, where the fuck is this
One of
goal?
the best scenes that
It
we've gotten so far.
Is insane, and they're like, what the fuck?
'Cause
There's
he's,
nobody
like,
there.
At this point, Isagi's taken on almost the whole team. Like, he's
Yeah,
like,
and he hasn't
pretty
given
much
up the
was.
ball.
Yeah.
He hasn't done shit, and everyone's trying to fuck with him.
because I do think he kind of snaps out for a second because we get his mental thoughts where he's like, I don't sense a goal. It's like, I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
going to do because he gets like to the halfway. He's like, oh, I'm fucked. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to
Because
do.
he starts counting like, oh, I'm like 30 meters away. I'm
Yeah.
10 meters away.
He's like, because he starts doubting himself, right? He's like, if only I had a power like a dribble or something, I
Yeah.
could get there, but I can't.
Yeah.
And then he smells the goal. It's
And
like,
it's like that wild, like, bro, I feel it.
Yeah.
And he shoots it to the random open area. Everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? And out of fucking nowhere, Chiguri's right there saying,
Full
pass
speed,
it to me.
yeah.
And just yeets it in. Oh my
so
God.
good. And
Go!
they win with a draw on that one,
Yeah.
and it was fucking so good. And I love that they won because then it puts that, which it comes into play obviously with the next match.
They
What do
have
they
to
do with
win.
Huan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they now have this teammate where they have drawn, so they're not out yet. They still have a possibility of winning, but they have a teammate who betrayed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
like you're gonna have to play the next match again without this guy because he's not gonna want you to score.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that is so well fucking written. It's like
It
it's
is.
so good.
It's crazy because he still has to be in their dorm with them.
Yeah.
He still has to do
Ah,
everything.
dude, that
guy
and I'm
was-
just like, holy
He'd be
shit.
dead in any
Oh,
other fucking
yeah.
Yeah. He got his ass beat by the other team.
Well,
still.
yeah, the other team was pissed that he let them score.
started
Yeah.
beating the shit out of him. Like, what the fuck? I thought you were supposed to tell us about everyone. He's
Yeah.
like, dude, I didn't know her. Because the thing was that they set up is, oh,
He
I'm not going to
previ-
give you
yeah,
my weapon.
never
because,
said it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to give you a weapon that's useless to the team.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what could it be? Is he gonna kill people on the fucking team? Is that? I legit thought the way they like set him up, like he just sat
I
there.
meet
in the
people
back.
up after the match and I
Yeah.
shoot them in the leg.
Yeah, I
That's
was
his
like,
thing. He's like,
that's
my
a
leg was
that's a
hurt.
litter weapon.
Yeah.
But so he gets beaten the fuck up, and they all go back, and they do start talking about like, what do we do? We're only gonna be
Yeah.
10 people. And they go to the chow hall and they see the motherfucker talking to Team V, which is their final rival, the best and the best of their stratum. And he's talking to the top 3 players like, hey, so just let me score a few points. We'll be good. You guys are going to get in. You've already assured yourself you'll get in.
Yeah.
You just let me in with you. And everyone's like, nah.
Nah, we don't care.
So cool.
I relate to that guy hard, the white-haired guy,
The lazy dude?
where he just wants to play video games,
Yeah.
doesn't want to put the effort into it.
and he's like, if you're not good, why are you even here? Kind
Yeah,
of thing.
just like you see that guy's backstory, which we're talking about one of the Team V characters. He's
Nagi.
like, oh, do I have to put effort into it? It's like I don't
Yeah.
want to do it. It's like I relate hard to that. It's like let
When
me
he's
just
like-
fucking potato out, dude.
Yep. And-
we'll get to that later, but yeah.
So good.
But he ends up, they're like, nah, we're good. There's the guy that, I still can't tell. Is he smart or
He's
is he
not.
He's
smart.
not smart.
But he says sometimes like he'll say some words and it's like, oh, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he will
He's
say like,
did I use it right?
yeah, they're in heavenly spirits, dude. It's in high spirits. What the fuck do you want?
Yeah.
And
Which not wrong.
no,
per
it's
se.
not.
No, not at all.
But he's great. And then we've got Rio, who's the like kind of center
Yes.
of the 3.
He's
of the
kind of like the mastermind.
Yeah.
I would
and then
say.
Nagi's like the fucking cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's the weapon, literally, because he's like, he'll do whatever Rio tells him to do.
Yeah, and it's so they're walking off, and Nagi runs his mouth, basically saying, you know, if you put all your effort in and you still can't win, like you're trash.
Yeah.
And so
well, I
that
think doesn't he say like, why do you even play the game?
Yeah,
it's like
something
yeah,
like
it's like
that.
ooh, harsh.
and that's when Isagi comes in, tells him to go fuck off because like, hey, how dare you disrespect the game of soccer?
Yeah.
And that's kind of started the rivalry. Hands get wait, no, that was in the previous match. Sorry. But yeah, so it's like already set up. Like Isagi's pissed. He wants to fucking crush Nagi. It's like, oh god, this is gonna be bad. we go. What do we do after that? Do we go into?
They do go back for a strategy meeting, and that's where the goalkeeper steps up, and because they did set up in the previous match, where I thought was very well done, because
he starts slowly.
He does kind of slowly take the position because the tactical guy who was betraying them shows up late, so he's kind of like, yeah, we can kind of do this, and everybody's like, well, why are you fucking talking about it?
Yeah.
Like, you're not So they do set that up before. And I'm like, okay, cool. I like the goalkeeper guys a lot.
He comes off as like a dad. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm a coach
definitely.
dad, and I'm
Because
also
he talks about like he wants to be a striker too, but he's like nobody else is gonna do the goalkeeper position, and he's
so he
already
has to take
3
one for the
games
team.
deep.
Yeah.
So it's like I'll do it. It's like I'm that guy.
So I wonder, like, you have to think at that point, like, I'm fucked. Like, I'm not gonna make it
unless they win. He can't score anything.
He could be hoping, that it's like it's not just gonna be a straight match every time to get eliminated.
That could be too.
Because obviously in the setup there has to be a goalkeeper. You cannot play soccer without a goalkeeper. It's that's the one position. Sorry, if you don't have a goalkeeper, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
So there always has to be one. It's just how it is, and he does take the position. He's awesome. He's great.
Yeah, he does.
He's not good at it.
But he's like good when it really counts.
When it matters.
He tries.
But he's bad at it because we have literal gods like fucking shooting the ball.
Well, he's a striker. It's like that's why he's there. He's a striker.
Exactly.
Do we know what his weapon is?
Not really.
No.
I don't think they do mention it. I think, but not.
It doesn't come into play
it
for
doesn't
sure.
come into play, yeah.
I don't remember it.
Interesting. Okay, so his can come up later.
Because I do think Jose's right. I do think they bring it up.
I bet he does say it as well, but I don't think it ever comes into play.
Because there's a few people that just had very generic one. Like one was speed and technique.
Well, like a lot of the ones that do come up that are in the forefront, they do mention multiple times. Like they're like, oh, we need to evolve our weapon, which is what gets brought up in the last match.
Yeah.
But it's like those are very like we see the same 5 or 6 over and over. Like we've known these 5 or 6, and we kind of forget about the other ones.
Yeah. So they start training pretty much, right?
They get like a day of training or something, and that's it.
And they've abandoned the hope of using Kuon, and I can't remember his name. He reminds me of it's not Kimimaru, or who's the fucking shark boy from Naruto with the sharp teeth? Right. Yeah,
Is
right.
he the guy with the hair down?
Yeah, hair down, always. Dude, love that guy.
Yeah, he's great. He's really great.
He cracks me up because he's the guy who's like, I want to do my fucking thing. Like, this is my fucking chance. Okay, well, if you really need me to, like, I'll fucking do it. But he's so angry about it.
We missed the great part, obviously, going back, because now that we're talking about Raichi, in one of the games where they were rotating who gets to be the first person, when it was his turn, they had the possession the whole time. The enemy team had the possession, and he was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's like, you guys are supposed to give it to me.
Yeah.
But he's so funny.
He calls it a sexy football or something like that, right?
Yeah. I want to see
guy
it.
who refers to the game as a girl?
Ichi something.
Yeah.
I thought that shit was fucking funny.
Yeah.
She's like
really
a girl
good.
she acts all tough.
She's out of my league. I can't ever get to her.
She's never had any romantic experience, but once I crack that, she completely falls in love with me.
Let me crack you.
Yeah.
And then he gets fucking dunked on or something. He's like, why Chan? No.
It's so good.
They
do a fantastic job with all the characters. A great job.
Yeah, they're all well done.
So, I mean, they don't spend too much time, I feel like, in between the third and the fourth match.
They kind of almost sets it up to where it's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And then
they do. It's important that we should talk about it. Ego does phone in before the fourth match and shits on Kuon.
Yeah, he's like, you're the one. You're the best. You're also the lowest of the low. You're a piece of shit scum.
I think he doesn't go like, I think you're scum or something like that. It's
I think he's like, I think you're shit.
It felt like the fucking, I know we're drawing a lot of Naruto references today, but it literally felt like when Kakashi shat on, like when they did the bell thing. It's like, if you don't help your teammates, you're worse than scum kind of thing. That's how he was. Yeah. It was crazy. And it was kind of cool because, like you guys brought up, it's like, oh shit, what are they gonna do? They kind of started dealing with the fallout then. Raichi just starts wanting to beat the shit out of Kuon. Everyone wants to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And he's basically like, don't ever do anything in the next game. Like, if I see you even fucking move, I will break you.
Yeah,
like,
straight up.
And what I think that's when Ego starts going into the formulas, right?
Yeah. So they do talk about the formulas. But in that same vein, when they were about to beat Kuon, Kunigami is like, I'm going to score, and then you're going to have to do something. Because, like, I will have more goals than you. Is like, just sit there and fucking watch.
He's going to hat trick on the next one. Everyone's going to be like, wait, no, you can't do that.
I hope to God he does.
Yeah.
I want to see it so bad. So, obviously, the fourth volume, which is the last one we read, it ends in the middle of the last one, so we don't know.
It's unfucking fair.
We don't know the ending of the next match. So, we're in the middle. So, I hope to God he does.
I do, too. And so he's like, if you're the top scorer in our team now, but if I scored one more than you, and he's not even the only one that has to do that. There's like 2 or 3 other people that have already scored on the team. It's like if they get 3 more as well, or if we get, it's gonna be great, and you're not gonna be able to do anything. And literally, if you have moves, Raichi's gonna be fucking putting them in the ground. I love it. And so they set that up, and I think they started analyzing the fuck out of Team V. Like they sat there and watched the recordings of them. And they're like, okay, we've got like a game plan. We see how they play. So they go into next day. It's the fucking final battle. They're like, if we win this, we need to get it like 1 above.
Well, you don't want to talk about one of Jose's favorite characters coming back, where Ego talks about the formula, and they need to figure out how to evolve their superpowers.
That's right, Jose.
And just like our main character just dips. He's like, I'm going to go. And he goes straight up to one of the training fields and finds the king himself.
So he straight up asks him, he's like, Senpai, notice me.
But the thing we forgot to talk about at the beginning when we were talking about the king is when he wins, he's like, you're a striker, and I think it's that you passed. You couldn't make a decision.
He calls him a choker.
Yeah, you choke. You're worthless or something. You're talentless or something.
You're talentless.
So he got fucked up hella hard from that, and so he went to him to go get his loins.
And
back.
I like that he was like, "You're the best player we played against. Like, please teach me."
What blew my mind is, so we've met Team V, the top 3. They've scored 18 points among the 3 of them. We've got 5, 6, and 7. So Nerd Dude, who's not actually smart, 5. Mastermind 6, and then Sam's favorite boy 7. This guy has scored 10. He has scored 10 points, so he's the top in the entire rank.
He just doesn't have the 2 extra good people on his team to carry him. Yeah,
he's literally carrying his own team.
But he's a fucking badass.
And they show him, like, this is what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying. Let's assume our guys make it through, because obviously the manga goes on forward. Let's just look on the outside here.
That's right.
He's gonna go through. The king guy will go through
no matter what.
But that worries me, because I feel a running theme in a lot of anime and manga is they'll take a character who is strong, and then we'll have them be defeated to make a new person look really strong.
So there's gonna be a god tier guy.
So it's like, I think they're just gonna use him and be like, oh, this guy is really good. He's gonna get obliterated. And it's like, oh, that kind of sucks.
What if they replace Quan with him?
Oh,
I think they keep Quan. I bet they keep Quan.
Yeah, because he's the Benedict Arnold of the group. I think he's gonna get broken.
Because like, if you get like a hard commit from him to stay on the team, he's a sneaky cunt now. It's you could use him really hard. It's like,
so they before we go into the king, we do forget that he gets a backstory leak, and it's very minor, but it's basically that he was the only one on his team that actually wanted to go to nationals. Everyone else is like, oh, that's like your dream, man. Like, Quan, I just want to play. So he's like, fuck you guys. This is why I don't trust my teammates, because you're all gonna fuck me over. Like, you're not in it as much as I am. He'll do whatever it takes. And then we cut back.
That part I feel like was a little bullshit, because clearly they're in it as much as he is. Like,
they
have shown time and time again that they want it just as bad.
But I think it's the naivety that basically
I think he's being realistic, where he's like, we still have to play Team V.
And they fucking decimated.
And it's like, they have to win that one. It's like, we have to. And it's like, that's not going to happen. Sorry, mate.
Exactly. So we go to King, and we find out he's 10-0. This guy is a fucking literal god when it comes to a cannon leg. And he doesn't accept to help Isagi. He's just like, I'm gonna crush you. Like, that's literally the whole reason I'm here, is I'm just gonna crush you, so I will prove to you why I will crush you. And he just fucks with Isagi the first 2 times. Isagi's like, wait, I get it now. I figured you out. If you go for the next one, you won't be able to get past me. And this is where, like, it was cool, because Ego had come up with like a formula. He's like, you're gonna start understanding how many people are guarding over here, how many meters away is my shot, how many blah blah blah, like basically having like this whole formula going on. The fucking hangover meme floating around your head. And it killed me, because then the king's just like, oh, you're wrong, because he saw Isagi thinking the whole time. He's like, you're wrong.
Well, he said it out loud.
Yeah.
Isagi said parts of it out loud.
Oh, really? I didn't see that. Okay.
Because there was a scene where he said out loud, and the king was like stunned for a second. He's like, oh, okay. But then he was like, no, you fucked up on the distance, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. He's like, your max range is 23 meters. Like, no, mine is 26. Yeah. And then just yeets around him. Because what had happened is Isagi noticed he was shooting in the exact same post.
That's
part of
the
post.
upper corner,
Yeah, and he's like, wait, he's creating his formula. So basically what Ego had been saying is like, repeatability of goals. Everything you've done up to now is a fluke. You guys don't deserve the win, basically, because you can't repeat this stuff. It's just like you had not like the actual game hat trick, but a hat trick. You pulled it out of your ass. You won, but they didn't know. And he went to King because basically King's able to fucking repeatedly get these goals. He sees, oh shit, if he's within his zone, he's able to get his goal. And so that helped him a lot in the next, or in the future after that, which was like, oh, that's so good. I like how King still beat him, even though he's like, I'm going to beat you.
Like it helped him and it didn't help him because he eventually finds out, it's like, yeah, okay, I understand the formula now, but my power, my weapon does not fit into that formula. Like I can't do spatial awareness plus my distance equals this. And it's like, he's just like, okay, I get it. I understand the formula, but my power doesn't like fit in a square block into a circle hole. It's like,
and the thing is, I think the way you just said it now kind of makes me think Ego said, like, you can't train yourself to be like Messi. You can't train yourself to be like this other guy. You like each of your weapons has to be trained completely differently than the next. So I wonder if it's going to be like, oh yeah, you don't have a formula because you're the way they talked about him earlier on is like, you're literally like a god looking above the fucking stadium and be like, yeah, I can make a play here. So
really, he should just be a coach at that point then.
Yeah. That was my same thought at that point.
I wonder if he's going to go for the fucking assassination classroom route. He's just going to be a teacher.
Oh yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
So we finally get to our last match, and that being said, it's kind of a short one because we're dead in the middle of it. I don't even think we're at the middle of it.
I think
we're before the middle of it because a lot happens in the very first 15 minutes, let's say. Yeah. It goes very fast.
It pops the fuck off because they're crushing them in terms of like, hey, we know, hey, they're going to go for this, so counter these guys. And they're able, I think, are they able to score a goal or they were very close?
I think they were close to scoring a goal, yeah. But then it's like they've because obviously they've watched them. They know what's going on. And eventually like, okay, I kind of liked what they just did. Let's just try and do their thing. And they do it fucking better than what they did. Like the whole thing. And we get our lazy guy who's just like, that was so easy. Why couldn't you guys? And they score off of that.
And Nagi basically was like, or what was it? It was Rio's like, hey, let's do that thing. And Nagi's like, okay.
Right.
And there was some backstory that happened basically in the training room where we find out why Rio is so obsessed with Nagi and why he's so into him. Basically, he's like this millionaire.
He's just a prodigy.
Yeah, I don't think he is a prodigy in the sense of like just he's good at anything he does, but he's rich. He's gotten everything he's wanted, and the first time he's ever met someone that made him feel alive, like he wasn't bored, was Nagi, because he like wanted to start playing soccer because he wanted the fucking World Cup. That was something you had to like earn. He's like, why can't you buy me the World Cup? Like I want the World Cup. And
I don't think he ever asked for his dad to buy him the World Cup.
They didn't say
he
specifically.
Said he wanted it, but
he wanted it.
Yeah.
But I think it was more. I don't know if it was a combination of like, I want to be in soccer so that I could win the World Cup, or I want you to basically buy me it.
I just think it's his classic. He wants everything. Here's this thing that he can only get by playing soccer.
And they're
like, you can't buy the World Cup. It's like, be like, okay, send him back to school, please. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Exactly. So he runs into Nagi, knocks him over, and his phone goes flying down the stairs. Nagi does a full leap, catches the damn thing with his foot, and Rio's like obsessed with him from now on. We cut back.
That's such an amazing soccer move, man. He caught it in midair.
It's like, oh, do you play soccer? I don't play anything, man.
Yeah.
It's like, what's up? And so we go back to Rio saying, hey, let's do the thing. Nagi's like, okay. He kicks it across the fucking field. Nagi jumps up in the air, does the same fucking tap move where he catches the fucking ball and then shoots it in. He's like, yeah, like Sam said, fucking, oh, that was so easy. So easy. Why didn't you guys do it? It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And that's kind of just the next 4 goals, really. It's just like, here, watch us just do this thing that you guys couldn't fucking do. And here you go.
He does a fucking like somersault fucking kick.
Yeah, that one was fucking
He's
crazy.
He's just so god tier.
Because they're basically trying to adapt on the fly. And each time like, hey, we know he could do this. We'll just guard him. We'll do this. And then he pulls out a new move.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I can also do this new move. And then it's like, fucking okay.
And the cool thing is like we had brought up earlier, it's like, okay, it's cool to have your weapon, but now you have to make it stronger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're getting to the point where they're like, oh, fuck. Like we're in a corner. They've got what 3 goals ahead of them.
Yeah,
they're like, there's no way we can catch up. And that's when Bachira fucking goes feral god mode. And
well, we missed out on an important part.
Oh, let's go for it.
No, everybody has just lost hope.
Yeah,
this is true.
Like the whole team is just like, we're done. It's like it's over.
Yeah.
And like to the point where you really think it's like, oh yeah. And even the other team is like, they look defeated already.
Yeah.
It's like, are we done? Are we
don't
gonna
have to
keep
try
playing?
as hard.
It's like,
Yeah.
Because Nagi did the, do I have
Nagi's
to
like,
try?
oh,
as
even
look
our
hard?
main
like
character
shit. Yeah.
lost hope. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, well, we can't come back from this. Like, there's
Yeah.
literally, they're the best team. They're 3 ahead of us. Like, it's game over.
Yeah.
And then like the one guy, Bakira, is just like, yeah, this is gonna be fun.
This
It's
is my favorite
like,
moment.
Finally, it's like, and it's so good, man. He's the best, and his weapon is dribbling, as we mentioned before, and he just outplays fucking the whole team by himself. The best team of their stratum, just dribbles past all of them and scores a goal.
Yep.
Like, no one helped.
Yep. No, seriously, no one did.
Everyone's just like,
Everyone's
holy
just
fuck.
standing there like, oh no.
And then it's game on. It's from that point on, and even the other team's like, oh, they look like they're back. It's like the guy, the lazy guy, is just like, really?
I have to keep trying.
Okay.
But so they did that, and I think they had a few other things. Wait, no, that caused Bakugo to get all pumped up, and they started realizing, oh, I got to go above and beyond. And he was like, oh, my fucking max is like 28 meters. I can make a shot. I got to get there. And Isagi basically just shouts, aren't you going to be a fucking superhero?
Yeah.
And he's just like, full yeet. And he did, what was it? They said it's like, oh, dude, that was like a 40-meter fucking shot.
Yeah, and he did.
Curved.
They referenced baseball at this point, where he hit the ball in a certain way that
was a
the
knuckleball.
Spin stopped on the ball, so it started going all erratic.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, that is really, really good.
Because the goalie went to fucking like
He
bunt
went to
it,
he said he was gonna punch it.
and it fucking flew around his hand, which, a little egregious, but yeah, dude, it was crazy.
And then we get a great scene with Raichi, too, who he's always wanted his time in the spotlight. He's always wanted to go score a goal. But eventually he's like, okay, I'll guard. Like, I'll play defense. And he's fucking fantastic.
He's harassing, what's his name? Rio.
He is shitting on Rio.
Yeah.
He's just like, you're a jack of all trades.
He's not leaving me
And like
alone.
he even, I think at one point he's like, fine, if I can't score, I'm just gonna be right here. I'm just gonna fucking it. He's so
and you
good.
see him standing there with his arms up.
What are you gonna do? Call your mom? It's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And he fucking Rio turns around, elbows him in the fucking neck.
Yellow card.
Yellow card. He's like, oh, I just got to do that again. You're gonna get fucking ejected from the game.
And he's so good.
When I saw him doing that, that's when I realized, like, oh, they're gonna be a whole team. They've developed a team full of strikers, but they're all gonna have their own positions, because he is so good at that.
Yeah.
He's just like, where the fuck did this guy come from? He's been on me this whole fucking time. He's like, I'm just gonna be right here the whole time.
So with that, we're getting very close to where we stopped. So where we go is we're now 2-3. We talked about the other goal, but then we get Chigiri's spotlight here. As we've talked about over and over, it's about evolving your weapon. Awakening is kind of what they call it. We get a nice thing with Ego, and he's going more into depth on what it takes to awaken, which is stuff we've previously already talked about.
Not shit about
being
superheroes.
pushed against the wall, back, you start from the bottom. This time it's Chigiri's turn to go, because he's been having a problem where the kind of smart guy, not really smart guy, is
Zantetsu.
faster than him.
Zantetsu.
And he doesn't know what to do. He's like supposed to be the fastest, and he's better than him. So eventually he figures out that this guy, it just has a faster startup speed than him. Kind of like when you're playing Fast and Furious or like the Need for Speed games. Some of them have better acceleration.
It's so weird how they did the dramatic drop. He's like, oh, he's better at anaerobic speed. And I was like, really, that is the lamest title you could give that guy.
So he eventually has to push himself to the next level to score a goal, and he figures out that, I don't know, like 25 meters or something is where he's
past 10 meters.
The other guy is faster than him, but it's like if he just kicks the ball out past that, he'll be able to catch up and get even faster going.
Which he does this move in this scene that he did in the past, where they're like, who did he pass it to?
Passes it to himself, baby.
I was like, the fuck?
Yeah. Which is like a thing you could do only if you're a sprinter. It's like, just kick the ball forward. Like, there's nobody even there. Vroom! I'm here, bitch! Yep.
And I love their little interactions between the two of them, because
they're
it's like,
shit talking hard.
They're like, you fucking slowpoke, you little bitch. Just like, what's up, slowpoke? I'm here.
Yeah. It's so good. And that leads with Chigiri eventually scoring the goal to tie the game. So we're now at 3-3. And that's where we end. And we're not even at the first half of this match yet.
Nope.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot to be done with the fourth match. They're setting it up, and it's very close, but I get the feeling that the three main people on the other team, they're going to kind of awaken as well and go even further. So I don't think it's done yet.
They have like a little preview section at the end, and
I never look at it. So
it stressed me out. Well, because it's basically Nagi popping off.
Oh, okay.
They're like, Nagi's like, okay, gotta do this. And you just see a bunch of shots coming from his leg. And
nice.
Like, oh, don't know. And that seems like it's going to be such a high-scoring game. Like,
I was thinking that too. I bet this game is going to go really high score and
people. Then we're going to get Kuon out, so he's going to have to commit to the team.
I bet he comes in and helps for this match too. I bet he's like, okay, fine, I'll fucking help.
I hope he breaks a fucking leg.
Because they haven't touched on it like the whole time they've been playing, and obviously, like we were saying,
He's just
I
been
think
there, right?
Well, I'm not meaning about talking about Kuon, but they haven't touched on the fact that they're playing a man down.
Oh,
because
yeah.
They haven't like the other team should have quite a sizable advantage with an extra person.
Yeah.
So they haven't mentioned that yet, and I do think that will come into play as well. Is kind of like, man, if we just had one more person, we would be fine.
But
because if they're 3-3 a man down, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but the way that they're playing too, like both teams, Team V's essentially got 4 people. It's the top three and then the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Who really is the only other person who's gotten any shine time.
Which he had a great time to shine in this match also.
Yeah,
he did.
Where he's like, fuck it, if I'm stuck as goalkeeper, I'm going to do my best. It's like,
He's
please
like, I'll
just
lay down my
score.
life for you guys.
And I think he was one of the last people to like not lose hope. He's like, just go. It's like, we need to do it.
Well, they started losing hope after the first shot, and he's like, no, we got this. But no, I meant on Team V. Like, their goalkeeper is like the only other person you see from that team. Our team, we've got Isagi, Bachiru.
They do that for kind of all the teams, though, where they give you like one or two, and like, these are the only people you need to know.
Because
like, don't need to worry about the other teams.
Because you don't have to get too worried. Because, again, like at the beginning, it got kind of stressful trying to keep up with
especially we only need to know the one if only one of the strikers is going to go through. It's like, why do we need to know anybody else?
Exactly. But damn, I'm stressed. I feel like Nagi's gonna pop off, and they're gonna have to like really go hard.
I think it's gonna be really good. We'll see, because they do set up, and obviously I think this game is gonna be a long one. Like it's gonna be really long. I would love to see in an anime that this game would probably be longer than that. I was gonna say for it to be the full soccer.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like they're like, hey, here's the full 90 minutes. Like,
that's 3 episodes.
Yeah,
4
which it'll probably be longer than that.
Yeah.
Really, because they still got to put in like the thinking time, the strategies. Like, oh, he's gonna do this. Oh, fuck, what I do?
And the strategies are like very thoughtful, but at the same time, like I understood.
I would love to see an anime of this. I would love so much. I think it would be fantastic
if they kept the same artist or art group.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Same style. Just keep everything the same almost.
It is. I was trying to think. So we do the Jump Tezuka contest, and I was trying to compare because I was like, what makes like
people
like
in
this?
that contest should be looking at this because our biggest complaint is the action.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
It's the action. You know, if the art's not good, this is like a fucking masterclass on just how. Because you've even said like these are pretty no-name looking characters. They all look like somebody else. Like, you know, like I said, it's the one swordsman from Naruto or it's Bakugo. You know, and it's like, holy shit, they're gorgeous. Everything's so well drawn. Everything's so fucking thoughtful. Like I was trying to figure out like what makes this, you know, different than like a viewer submission or something like that. Fuck me, I don't know. It's just it was so damn good. It's so
really good.
And the character development. And I obviously with the Jump Tezuka, it's like a single one shot. You're not allowed to go past. But they established such like a hard precedent. Like this is what the world is. This is all you need to know at the time.
But it's obviously much easier to do with soccer.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey,
there's a basis.
You know this. We're real world. We're not sci-fi. Here you go. We're not setting up a new world here. It's literally Earth 2018 or whatever. Like a little bit after that. Here you go.
Yeah.
So it makes it much easier for them. But
I do agree.
Not to take away from this manga because it's fucking great.
Yeah. I think the introduction of because I don't know, does Haikyuu do like the demon form like power?
They kind of do. They kind of have the eye thing going as well. So that's why I kind of feel like this is Haikyuu, but it's like no, we're not going team. We're going just be the selfish guy. Just be as selfish as possible.
So it's like the antithesis kind of thing. I like that. But you're right. The eye thing, I don't know. Every time I see that, I look for it now. It's like, is it going to pop up?
It's really
I want to see Nagi have that eye now. It's so cool.
So there's a lot to look forward to. It's really good. If you haven't figured out by the end of this, we fucking love it.
Yeah.
So check it out. Check out Blue Lock. If you've read it, let us know what you think. What's your favorite character? I would love to know who is your favorite, because there's a lot to pick from. And they're really good.
I was legit so hyped on this last night. I was going to start recommending it to people that don't even read manga.
I already told Matthew about it. I was like, yo, because me and Matthew love Haikyuu. I'm like, you got to read this one. Yeah. It's like, it's so good.
Just speed run this.
If you like it at all, if you like sports manga, if you anything, good story, check it out.
I'm almost, I can hear it. He's going to walk in there. Bro, so good.
Okay, so I think that's enough about Blue Lock. We've covered it all. We've covered the bases. It's good. we're gonna move on. We're gonna announce our next pick here.
Ooh,
we're just
I'm
gonna be
excited
doing
for this.
another 4 volumes. That's gonna be the running theme. That way we'd kind of get a volume a week if we were actually doing it the way we're supposed to be doing.
Instead of the
So-
last week.
With that, that was Blue Lock. Check it out. I could put a link to where you read it, but just Google it. All right, Google
Yeah,
read Blue
just-
Lock. It comes up. So the one we're doing for the next month. So obviously that'll be a month from now. First Monday of every month. Let me get my bag here.
Oh, physical copy.
Yeah, we only have the first 2, but we're doing 4. We're gonna be doing Eden Zero. Do you guys know Eden Zero?
Yeah.
No.
I've seen people talk about
Eden
this.
Zero is the next manga from the Fairy Tail creator.
Yeah.
So it's his new series.
Wow, they really kept the
So here's a couple of things. Let me tell you, I've read a few chapters when this was first coming out. Like I read probably the first 4 or 5. A lot of the characters look identical. There's
I
a
heard
character
Urza's
that
in
looks
here.
like Urza to
Baby
the
girl.
T.
And Happy's in here.
And Happy's in here, but that's a running theme across the board.
Okay, so Happy's
so
like
we're gonna see a
universal.
Joel.
I don't know. And there's a character, the main girl looks just like Lucy as well. So it's weird. And for those of you guys who don't know my personal feelings on Fairy Tail, I loved it up until the last arc, and then I hated it.
Really?
So
I didn't hate it, but I completely thought that they should have just let some characters die.
we'll see how this one goes because I feel like from what I've seen, it's basically Fairy Tail in space.
Okay.
Oh.
So-
yeah.
Fairy Tale.
This
We'll
guy
see.
Looks like
Space Tail.
the Thunder God Slayer.
Yeah, a lot of the same designs. He's got a
Yeah.
very the Fairy Tail guy has a very identifiable art style, so
Which
it's-
is good.
It is good, but it's hard to break out from that.
I mean,
I
he
agree
makes
with
some
that.
top tier waifus.
So, and I do believe this is getting an anime come next year. So check back in a month if you were ever interested in.
So
Is it
it-
actually good?
So what you're saying is he didn't fuck it like the Naruto creator did with
No, he did
Samurai
not.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this has actually gotten many volumes. I think there's like
Okay.
8 or something out already. So this has actually had some success aside from Samurai.
Yeah,
Sorry.
straight up looks like Lucy right here.
So
Boobs and
Oh, yeah.
everything.
that's the one we're going to be doing next month. Check back for that. Hope you guys like Blue Lock. Let us know what you thought. And let us know if you're going to be reading Eden Zero as well, or if you've already read it, because I think I've already read the first volume, but I'll be reading it all over again. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram if you ever want to talk about it. You can tweet at us about anything. We keep up. We'll probably be reading all of Blue Lock, so check back then. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.